Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Java and Joy. This is where the coffee is hot, the conversation is heart deep, and it's all about transformation served with a sprinkle of sparkle. I'm your host and your pocket coach, Karla Joy. And today we are brewing something really, really big. We're going to talk about your 2026 joy plan. That's going to be your personalized roadmap to stepping into a year without overwhelm, without pressure, and without that January burnout that takes us out by week two. Today is going to be all about breaking down those big dreams into small, doable, and delicious little actions because you deserve goals that feel good, not goals that drain you. So, we're going to talk 2026 and your joy plan for it today. But before we get started, let's do all of our housekeeping and our warm up. So first, I want to remind you guys, my brand new free goal tracker guide is available for you guys. It's at beautybykarlajoy.com/coaching. It is linked at the top of my Instagram profile. And it is literally a free downloadable little guide that you can track whatever your goals are. It doesn't matter if your goals are physical, financial, whatever. It's going to help you actually track your goals and give you little like temperature check-ins once a week to make sure you can stay on track and reach those goals and dreams this year. So grab that free guide. It is there for your disposal. And I also released in December my 3-day goal getter joy journey. So it is just 3 days of daily check-ins that you're going to get. It's an email system, so you can actually work at your own pace if you need to, and you can start it whenever you'd like. But it's a 3-day journey. It's going to help you really set up a really good goal plan. And with all the details and the breakdowns and teach you how to be consistent and help you stick with things. So it's kind of like a little piece of my coaching and me being with you for a few days, getting you jump started into whatever goal and journey that you're going to be on. So check out that 3-day goal journey while you're at the website grabbing that free tracker. Okay. So don't miss those. And then now let's get a little warm up going here. Our warm up. So I want you to grab a cup of coffee or Java, get a comfy seat. Obviously, if you're driving, then this is where I just want you to do the rest of the steps. Skip this one for now, but if you are listening and you can, I want you to take a selfie of yourself with your little coffee mug or whatever cute tumbler or whatever you're using. And I want you to post it on Instagram and I want you to tag me at Beauty by Karla Joy. And then in that post, just tag Java and Joy for me. And that's going to enter you into some secret giveaways that I'm going to be doing. I mean, not so secret now that I'm sharing it here, but this is something that you can do every single week after you listen to my episodes. You can take a picture of yourself enjoying your Java and Joy and tag me in it on Instagram at Beauty by Karla Joy. And that will enter you. I will be randomly selecting winners for gift cards like Starbucks, or maybe it'll be some self-care packages, whatever it may be. But I'm going to be giving away goodies for those of you sharing your moments of Java and Joy on Instagram. So get over there and do that. And then for everyone who's listening, no matter where you are or what you're doing, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to release all the tension that your body is currently holding. And I want you to enjoy this time that is just for you. Even if you're on a dreaded morning commute right now or commuting home from work and you're stuck in traffic, I hear you, I feel you, I see you. Take this time to release some tension. Take this time to think about what you want in life? Where do you want to find more joy? This is your time. This is me time. Okay. Take advantage of the me time anywhere you can get it, ladies. All right. Every little pocket we can find it and use it. Okay. So, you can also share your joy moments of the week anytime you want with me on Instagram. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to talk about just a joy moment of the week with each other. I personally want to talk about because we were, kind of on a little lull there between the holidays. I had pre-recorded episodes, so I didn't really get to share with you what I wanted to is my joy moment because I celebrated my anniversary with my husband. We do that every December 16th. And a lot of people don't know that Java and Joy has an origin story. There's a reason this show is called Java and Joy. And the Java is because I met my husband at Starbucks on a blind date, the only blind date I've ever agreed to go on, and so glad that I did. But we met there. That was where I found the love of my life. So, Java, coffee, whatever, has a very special place in my heart. And then, of course, my middle name is Joy. So, and I love to bring people joy. That is, it brings me joy to bring others joy. So, Java and Joy was kind of created out of my story literally, and my hope is that it brings so much more joy to other people and to pay it all forward. So I wanted to share that as my joy moment with you guys because I don't think everyone really knows about the origin story of this show. So that's my story. So I want you to think about one joy moment you had within the last week or last month, since we're getting caught up here, and really think about that. And no matter how hard things have been, I know the holidays can be rough. But I want you to think about one moment of joy that you really had. Maybe you got to look at some Christmas lights, or maybe you listened to some Christmas music, or watched a holiday movie. Maybe you cooked a recipe that you only make once a year. Whatever that may be, think about that joy moment. And I would love if you guys would share these joy moments with me on Instagram too. Like I said, take a photo, tag me at Beauty by Karla Joy, and let me know that this was your joy moment this week. Um, so it's just good to always recognize all those little small moments of joy that often passes by really quickly and we don't even acknowledge them. So let's do that. Let's really focus on our joy moments of the week. And we're going to be doing this moving forward. Sound good? All right. Okay. Now we can settle in. And I think this episode is going to feel like a coaching section that's wrapped up in like your favorite cozy blanket. I really think this is going to be one that gives you some really tangible tasks that you can take from this and like just charge into 2026 feeling inspired and ready to go and actually be equipped with tools that are actually going to get you there, not with just ideas or positive phrases. This is real tangible action items. So if you can save this episode right now on whatever system you're using, whether that's YouTube or a podcast system, save this so that you can come back to it, because I don't want you to have to write all this down at one one fell swoop here. Plus, I want you to be able to come back to this anytime you're setting up a new journey for yourself. It's going to be a fabulous free reference for you. Okay. So do that. And if you can, though, grab, whatever you can to write on. Like I said, you don't have to write it all down, especially if you save this, but maybe you only write down some of the things that just pop into your head right now. And then you can, bring it all together later. Okay. So let me get a sip of Java here before we get going. Oh, that's good. Oh, still using my Starbucks holiday blend. Probably will all the way till at least February. Okay, so we've got our sips, we're relaxed. Let's get into it, ladies. All right, we're going to start with a framework. Okay, so to make a plan, you need a map. That's what framework is. We're going to make a map. And I like to call it joy planning. So we're just going to go ahead and brand that real quick. It's just joy planning we're going to be doing, and it's simple. You're going to pick what matters most. Then B, we're going to break it into steps. C, we're going to schedule our joy. And D, we're going to start tiny. And we're going to walk through all these steps together today. And again, grab a notebook. If you're driving, just let this seep into you like a good, slow brew of coffee and readdress it later, come back to it. And if you're listening on the radio and you're like, how am I supposed to say this episode? When you get home, go look up Java and Joy on YouTube or a podcast so you can start having the replays there available for you and subscribe in those places. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with picking 3 goals for 2026. Not 27, not 52, not 4, not 1. We're going to go with 3. 3 is the magic number for us today. And these 3 things are going to be things that will make 2026 unforgettable for you, purposeful for you, and aligned for you. Okay, so here's some examples. A wellness goal. Pick one wellness goal. You can pick a financial goal. You could pick a personal growth goal. You could pick a passion goal. Whatever you pick, you get 3. Okay, because more isn't better. Okay, more is just overwhelm. We don't want more. We want to simplify. We don't want overwhelm here. We just want joy, right? So 3. 1, 2, 3. You got your 3? Beautiful. We're going to break each one of these goals into 12 monthly milestones. You get 1 milestone per month. It has to be small enough that you won't want to avoid it, but it has to be direct enough that we still build some momentum. Okay. Again, we are going to actually break this down. I'm going to actually take 3 different of my current clients' goals and map these for you. So you'll have an actual guide here. But right now, I want you to get an idea of what we're doing and why it matters. Okay. So we get the monthlies built. Okay. Then we're going to break it down into weekly tangible steps. And this is really where the magic happens. This is where these weekly actions are small, they're doable, and they're realistic. So we're talking, here's some examples: 20 minutes of movement, 1 piece of new content, 1 transfer to your savings account, 1 new chapter read, 1 space in your home decluttered. Small actions, they add up, and you get big results. Let me say that again. Small actions add up to big results. Okay, so that's what we're going to start breaking down into those weekly steps. But it's important that we also schedule joy along the way. And this is where a lot of people mess up. You plan all the things you got to do, but you don't plan all the things that are going to keep you sane while you're doing it. Let's look at it that way. So we got to plan joy. We have to be intentional with joy. You are in charge of your own happiness. You are in charge of your own joy. That's the truth. Okay. So every month we're going to plan a joy reward, something delightful, celebratory, motivating. It could be a coffee date with a friend. It could be an at-home spa night with yourself. It could be buying a new lipstick, walking around your favorite park, whatever lights you up, whatever brings you joy, and it'll be something that you look forward to. Because joy makes habits stick. Joy makes habits stick. You need the joy. It can't all be hard. Some of it has to be fun. Okay. So it's important that we schedule joy along the way. Now, here's a little interactive joy goal share. Here's what we're going to do. Okay, so here's the fun part. I want you to take a picture of your notebook, your coffee mug, your journaling moment, whatever you're doing right now. Or when you come back to this episode and do it later, you can do this then. Right, take a picture of it, of you doing these actions, writing these things down, doing your planning. Not a picture of what when it's done, of what the plan is. I want you to literally take a picture of yourself sitting there with a cup of coffee or your favorite drink. If you guys don't drink coffee, that's perfectly fine. Whatever you're snacking on or whatever, sitting there doing that journaling moment, that planning moment, I want you to take a picture of it and have it there. Okay? Because you're going to use that down the road. So go ahead and have that now. And again, feel free to share that with me on Instagram. And I tell you what, I'll even select a giveaway for that too, just for you taking the time and putting yourself first in planning what you really want in life. So take a picture of yourself doing it, put it on Instagram, tag me at Beauty by Karla Joy. Okay. I'll pick somebody from that as well. But keep it for yourself either way. Okay. Whether you're on social media or not. Um, because we're going to make 2026 like your year of your joyful accountability. And by taking this picture, you're going to be able to look at this anytime you want and be like, yeah, I took the step. I took the first step. I took the first important step of actually taking the time to sit down and decide what I want, not what I should be doing, not what I feel guilty about, but what do I want? And if you didn't listen to last week's episode, please go back because it's about setting intentions, not resolutions. It's about setting up the goals should make you feel a certain way, not look a certain way, not act a certain way, not be someone different. It should make you feel a certain way. You will stick to a goal better if you're working towards something that makes you feel a certain way. Okay. So go back and listen to that because that's like going to really help you out. Okay. So keep that picture though. Keep that picture and keep it readily available. Heck, make it your screensaver, make it your phone background. I don't care. Keep it accessible. Okay. So now that we know kind of what the roadmap's going to look like, we've got the monthly, we've got the weeklies, all the stuff, right? We're going to actually sit and break a few of these down. With my current clients, I'm going to take 3 of them with their goals. I'm going to break them down live with you right now. Exactly the structure that I would give them to set up their joy journey. Okay. So one of my clients, this is their joy statement. This is one of their intentions for 2026. I want to get stronger and feel healthier. Okay. That's their goals. So for monthly milestones, here's what I worked out with them. And I'm not going to go through all 12 months, but we could be here for hours, right? But I want to get you an idea of where we're going. So for January, I had them start 10-minute routines. 10-minute routines. So that could be 10 minutes of walking, that could be 10 minutes of swimming, running, jazzercise. They still do Zumba movement, 10-minute routines of movement. Okay. And then I had them add in strength training as well, because strength training is, I mean, for so many reasons, so important. If you really want to be strong and healthy, ladies, especially over 40, it's important. It's going to keep your metabolism boosted. It's going to help prevent osteoporosis. I mean, so many things. So I made sure I added in strength training for them. Okay. But again, these are short routines. We're talking 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay. And that was for February. So January, we added in 10 minutes of movement. Okay. Routines. February, we added some strength training. Okay. March, we're going to work on consistency. That's what's the plan. So if the goal was to be at 3 days a week, we're going to make sure that at that point we are at 3 days a week. Maybe we only start with 1. And this is all, dependent on your current, right? Your current level of fitness or whatever it may be. So you have to kind of tweak accordingly. That's, part of being a life coach. We tweak according to the specifics of that client, right? So this one was, 0 activity. So for the first month, I just wanted her doing 10 minutes of movement, 1 to 2 times a week, and then add in the strength training. And now we're going to make sure we're at 3 times a week consistently into March. And then we'll hold that. We're going to hold that consistency at that point. And then each month we're going to change that to like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? We're going to build each month into that. And maybe from 3 times a week to 4, maybe from 4 to 5. So by the end of the year, we're doing 30 minutes a day, 4 or 5 days a week of activity with 2 to 3 days of strength training mixed in. And we have a full, consistent, real healthy plan. And where people would fail on this plan, let me just say, is because they would go into January 1, first week, and say, I am going to work out 30 minutes a day. I'm going to do 2 days of strength training. I'm going to start eating this every day. It's like system overload. It's just in 1 week. And that's not how habits are created. That's not how lifestyles are changed and created. You got to ease in. Otherwise, you're going to dread it. You're going to be tired, hungry, and hurting. And that's not easy to stick to. I mean, some people can, but most people cannot. Okay. So Those are the monthly milestones that I'm building for her. Okay. Weekly actions, I'm making sure again that in those months, like I said, the first month we have 10-minute routines, but I'm making sure that there's at least 2 times a week in there. But I'm also making sure that there's one joyful movement of the week. So maybe that's doing some yoga or just taking an easy walk, not a workout walk, just a brisk walk. Maybe that's just dancing around with your favorite song on, right? Just making sure there's some movement that's not an actual workout. Like I don't want you to break a sweat. And when I say yoga, I mean like simple yoga, like stretching and breathing yoga, not standing on your head, um, putting your legs behind your head, nothing that is physically challenging. I'm talking an actual joyful movement, and I'm making sure she has that in her routine once a week. Okay. And then as far as nutrition goes, the way that I'm working that in for her is instead of saying, I can't have this, or this, and I'm going to make sure I eat this, and this. Okay. I'm having her pick, one day a week where she preps for the rest of her week. The important things that she wants to make sure that's in her diet. Like she's like, I want to eat more vegetables every day. Okay, well then we're gonna roast a couple pans of vegetables on, Sunday night, and that's gonna be your vegetables to make sure you have that for the rest of the week, right? But that's not the same as going in being like, I'm gonna count every calorie every day. I'm not allowed to have any sugar. Those are the things that are gonna make people fail. Okay, so we're gonna add a few things, right? And start with baby steps. So weekly, I have her meal prepping. Weekly, I have her doing 1 to 2 workouts. And weekly, I have her doing a joyful movement. Do you see how less overwhelming that is to going into January? Like, just set your base in January, if anything, right? Like, then you can have the building blocks on top of that. Okay. So that's how I'm structuring that client's joy journey. And like I said, we'll progress. Each month we'll take a temperature check, see how things are going. I mean, technically we do that every week, to be honest, with my clients. If you're a full-time coaching client, every week we say what worked last week, what didn't work, how can we adjust, those kind of things, right? But every month, at the end of the month, we say, okay, we're ready to plan the next month. Okay. So that's if you're doing health and fitness, right? My other client, here is her 2026 goal. I want to grow my side hustle. Something I'm very familiar with as someone who has built 2 businesses in the last 3 years. She wants to have her own side hustle that could potentially turn into her full-time hustle. Okay. So again, we start that with monthly milestones that we're going to think about. So for January, I want her to create a simple offer. What do you want to be like to help people or to sell to people or whatever it's going to be that's your business, right? You need to have one simple person that you would speak to, that you promote to. Okay. So create that offer. That's what you're going to do in January. We're going to create that offer. That's it. To create the offer. Because that takes more time, honestly, building that. What exactly do you want the business to be about, right? You want to be really, really intentional with that. So that's January. February, we're gonna work on building awareness. How do we get people to find this offer? How do we get them to find her? What avenues of marketing strategy are we going to use? Okay, so we start making sure she's present in whatever those spaces are. Maybe that is social media. If it's a brick and mortar, maybe it's signs around town, whatever. And then in March is when we're going to focus on selling. And then we're going to have to say, like, how are we going to sell, right? Like, what are the means of this selling? Because if it's an online business, well, okay, are they buying from your website? Are they buying from, your Venmo? Like, how are these things working, right? It's fine tuning the processes. And then from there is where we learn to expand and fine tune and tweak again. And we start figuring out what those following months are going to look like. So we're really only setting up the first quarter right off the bat on that. For weekly processes for her, I have her creating one piece of content per week, just one. Getting good at creating one piece of content before you try to create 5. Okay. And then I want her to engage with 10 ideal clients. So getting on social media or whatever, maybe you start messaging people that are interested in the things that you're going to be offering and finding out what they need, how you can help them create connections, create relationships, build those. That's what I want her doing with 10 people a week. Okay. And then I want her working on that offer that she's building in a time slot every single week to hold that accountability, right? Because this one specifically already has a full-time job. So it's not like she can just spend hours every day doing this. So we're creating an hour block here or an hour block there where she can work on creating the content or creating the offers and working that into her schedule. So those are her weekly plans. Okay. And again, we're scheduling in one joy moment per week of something that makes her feel good. So this doesn't have to be tied to the business or the goal that she's creating. So we could say, well, okay, once a week, why don't you create or go in your stories or do a live online or something, just talking about what you love and what you want to do and connecting with people. But maybe that's, doesn't need to be business related. Maybe we say, okay, how about once a week you get an hour of a spa time with yourself, put on a face mask and lay in the bathtub, right? Like whatever it is. Okay. So we're just going to make sure that I'm scheduling that in intentionally on her planner at a specific day and time. Because if we don't, ladies, and let me say this real clearly, if you don't schedule it, it won't happen. If you just say once a week, it won't happen. If you say every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, you've already increased your likelihood of committing to something by like 75%. It's insane. You can't just say, I'm going to do something once a week or once a month or 3 times a week. What time are you doing it? What days are you doing it? That's accountability. Make sense? So that's another little client's goals for 2026. All right, I'm going to do one more client here. This one says, I want to create more peace at home. Oh, don't we all? Um, so for this one, her monthly milestones. January, we're going to declutter. One drawer or one closet or one thing a week for January. That's the monthly milestone. Even though it's a weekly task, it's a month, that milestone, we're going to declutter something once a week. And then in February, we're going to work on simplifying routines. So it's good to like, if you notice, I had her remove some stuff first, and now we're going to simplify routines. So maybe their mornings are really hectic. So maybe we learn to get up 5 minutes earlier, and maybe we do some kind of gratitude journal or some kind of centering or grounding activity with the kids while we're doing breakfast or before breakfast, to set the tone and intentions for the day instead of just jumping into chaos every morning. Or maybe the same goes for bedtime at night. Maybe we have a little bit more structure of like, here's when we do the homework, here's where we take the baths, here's where we brush the teeth, and then here's where we gratitude journal or read a story or whatever before bed. So creating some simplified routines, but that are routines that keep things calm and peaceful for her. Okay. And then in March, I want her to create a peaceful ritual for herself that's just for herself. So maybe that peaceful ritual is just watching the sunrise with a cup of coffee. It doesn't matter what that is. But that's where we're going to be mixing in some of that joy we talked about, right? So for her weekly action breakdowns, like I said, we're still going to be tidying and cleaning. And I have her do, I said 15 minutes per week of cleaning up something. If she has the capacity to do more or wants to do more, great. And then I also had her create a donation box for any of the things that she clears out that she doesn't want to use. Make sure she puts it into a weekly donation box. Just because that's always great to pay things forward to people, that we don't might need it. We may not need it anymore, but someone might. So it's good to donate. And two, sometimes getting rid of things is hard, but when we know it's going to a greater purpose and it's going to bring someone else joy now or give them something they need that they don't have, it's easier to let go of the things that no longer serve us or that we don't currently utilize, right? Especially if it's something we're not even using that someone else could be benefiting from, right? That's a good thing to do, right? And it's a lot easier to let go of things when we know it's going to a better purpose, okay? And then I also have her doing one weekly reset. So I call it self-care Sunday for me. One, like I said, a spa moment. Maybe it's just taking a shower with her favorite song on, light a candle, burn some incense, whatever. Maybe it's cooking, one of her favorite recipes every Sunday. whatever, but we're going to have one day a week where we take either 15 minutes, an hour, however long it may take to have a reset, because that's going to bring some major peace by recharging your batteries. Because let me tell you, and if you listen to me long enough, you know self-care is the key to everything. If you don't protect your own peace, everything else is not going to fall into line. You're not going to, goals won't matter. If everything's chaos and you are unsettled, goals aren't going to matter, right? So I love that her goal is to create more peace, because once she can do that, oh, she's going to be like limitless. Then the goals can really set in, right? So, and remember earlier how I said, you guys could pick 3 different goals to work on for the year. Let one of those be something that is self-improvement, or that brings you peace, or that forces you to do a hobby that you've always wanted to do, or maybe you used to do and don't do anymore. Like for me, I've always been really into running. Maybe my goal for this year is to like get back into, more, competitive running or whatever, right? Maybe you always wanted to paint. Maybe now that's one of your goals, is to start painting. So, like I said, 3 goals. Maybe you still have a weight loss goal this year, and that's fine. But also have a goal of something like that along those lines. That's just more of a passion goal. Okay. Make one of those 3 that. That's one of my little tips for you. Okay. All right. So, this is where we start to build the weekly rhythms. This is where like you have a joy plan template that's going to be your secret weapon. So at this point, with these 3 clients, they have an idea of at least the first quarter of their year, monthly, what we're going to do. They have a good idea of what their weekly, day-to-day kind of things are going to be. And then we can progress from there. So it's good to have a template too, though. And this is where I do a daily template. So when I speak to a client, say every Monday, I said, here's where I want you to do daily for the next week. So on Mondays, I love a good mindset reset. Okay. So this is like where you journal and you say, how do I want to feel this week? What matters the most? Set yourself up for success in your week. Not what do I want to get done? Because we already know our goals and plans at this point. We know what the end result is that we really want. But how do you want to feel this week? What matters to you most this week? So that's what you really want to set your weeks up with, right? And then on Tuesdays, I always call that like tiny step days. So take an action towards whatever your top goal is. Take an action on Tuesday. It's Take Action Tuesday. That's what I should call it, instead of Tiny Step Tuesday. Call it Take Action Tuesday. And then Wednesday is always wellness check-in. So this is where I want to make sure, if you haven't already this week, we get 10 minutes of some kind of movement, a joyful activity. Also, are you sleeping right for this week? Have you been hydrating? Those things matter, you guys. If you want energy and clarity and motivation, you have to take care of yourself in those areas too. Like eat right, sleep right, hydrate. Because if you don't, you're not going to make good decisions. It's going to be easier to quit. So wellness check-in on Wednesdays. If you haven't done those things by then, we make sure we get ourselves back on track. It's like the hump day, right? Thursday is usually like a progress check for your goals itself. Look at your goals, celebrate what tiny wins that you have. What do we want to make sure happens before the end of the week, right? Friday is always joy day, feel good Friday. So schedule something fun, small, fulfilling, whatever it might be, to decompress from the week, right? And Saturday is like slow down Saturday. Okay, this is where like we need to take a restful moment, do something with the family. Maybe we go run the errands that we need to run, whatever, but something that's just not work related, right? And then Sunday is reset and prep. We review, we adjust, we begin again. Um, and then again, that reset is going to be like, for me, like self-care Sunday, right? So maybe I take a bath, or I sit down in my favorite chair with a blanket and a snack, and I read some of the book that I've been wanting to read. Okay, so self-care Sunday. And you can frame these like however you want. Like if you want to call it Mindset Monday and Transformation Tuesday, like I do. If you follow me on social media, I do a post every single day of the week with those themes in mind. And if you notice, they're very close to what we're doing here. And that's intentional in how I do that. I have Wellness Wednesdays. I call Thursday Thoughtful Thursdays. in goal setting, we're checking on progress, but it really is just being thoughtful. We're checking in on ourselves, right? So, million ways to say it, but it all kind of gets you into the right frame of mind. So, if it's helpful, follow on social media all my daily posts because it's going to remind you, like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that today, like Feel Good Friday or, whatever. I do, however, do Silly Saturday a lot where I do a lot of coffee memes and stuff like that because, like I said, that's our, like, rest day, not talking, think about work day. It's just be fun and funny and, cutesy, whatever, right? So I just feel like when you kind of set your days like that, you're setting them with intention. You're creating the tone for those days, the attitude, the mindsets, right? So that's why I think it's important to kind of decide, like, what is each day of the week going to mean for you? Okay. So that's like your weekly, daily joy template. You see how we've brought it all together from monthly to weekly, now down to daily. And that's going to help you stay accountable. It's really going to help you stay accountable and keep your eye on the prize too. Okay. All right. Let's move in to the next section. So you've got your joy guide there. Okay. I'll give you guys some serious strategizing. All right. We're going to do a guided exercise here and we're going to call it Dear 2036 Me. 10 years. That's right. We're going 10 years into the future. We're going to write a love letter to ourselves, to our future selves. And again, we're going to call it Dear 2036 Me. Why 10 years? Okay, well, first of all, 10 years is enough time for major transformations where you basically don't recognize yourself, right? From when you were 10 years younger or whatever. And it's just a really good time frame to set up things where you can really be proud of. Like, look at where I've come, like it's just a good mindset to think 10 years in advance. We're not going to set a goal for 10 years in advance, but we're just setting a mindset for 10 years in advance. Okay. So you're going to write that future letter. And you're gonna, I'm gonna give you some prompts here of how I want you to think about feeling and the questions I want you to answer when you're writing this letter to yourself. Okay. And I know this sounds silly, but listen to me. That picture we took earlier of ourselves planning our futures, you're gonna put that letter with it or keep it somewhere. Like if your picture's on the digital, that's fine. You could take a picture of the letter that we're about to write though and keep them side by side. You could keep that letter right next to your nightstand. Trust me on this. Your future self will thank you that you wrote this letter. It will thank you that you took that picture. Okay. So you're going to feel your feet on the ground as you're writing this letter. You're going to feel your shoulders soften. Close your eyes if you need to, if that helps you visualize. You're going to imagine yourself in 2036. How old are you? Where do you live? What do your mornings look like? Who is around you every day? What are you proud of? What did you overcome? What joy fills your days? What joy fills your days? And once you can answer those questions, that's where you write the letter. And I'm going to give you an example that I've written to myself. I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay. This deep little secret letter. Okay. All right. Dear 2036 me, I see you and I am so proud of you. I'm proud of everything you've created, everything you've healed from, and everything you've become. In 2026, I made a decision to choose joy, to choose growth, to choose myself. I didn't always know what I was doing, but I kept showing up one small step at a time. And here's what I hope for you. I hope you wake up feeling grateful. I hope you move through your day with confidence and softness. I hope you're surrounded by love, purpose, and peace. I hope you laugh often. I hope you give yourself permission to rest, show yourself grace. I hope you've become the woman you've always imagined you could be. Now keep going, keep dreaming, and keep choosing joy. With love, your future 2036 self. Now, let me tell you how powerful it is to read that. I literally could feel the emotions rising in me reading that letter to myself. And this isn't even 10 years from now, people. This is 2 days later, but it's powerful. Imagine speaking to yourself like this on a regular basis. Imagine what that would do for you. But either way, in 10 years, when you look at this letter, or anytime you need to look at this letter, it does not have to be 10 years from now. You need to look at this every day, do it. Every month, do it. But I guarantee you in 10 years, you're going to look at this and be like, wow, wow, I've gotten through a lot. I've done some amazing things. I've had some amazingly joyful moments, and you'll be glad you did it. You will. You won't regret writing this letter, is what I'm saying. So write the letter. It takes 10 minutes of your time, people. It'll be worth it. Do it and put it with that picture. Okay. So make sure you do it. 24 hours from now, have it done. Don't wait. Write the letter now. And maybe you take the picture of you writing the letter. Maybe instead of you writing the 12-month, the weekly plans, the writing list of goals, just take a picture of you writing that letter. Either way, either picture will be fine. It'll show where you sat down and decided to put yourself first and decide what you really wanted in life, and decided that finding your joy was going to be a priority. That picture is going to be your visual of you doing it, and that letter is going to be that personal, like, words to yourself. Okay. Now, the only other thing I want you still to do is a reflection prompt, because I love to give homework because that's what we do. I want you to really answer these questions for yourself. What does my 2026 self want me to know? Or I'm sorry, what does my future 2036 self want me to know that would be important? What tiny steps would she tell me to take first? What joy would she urge me to protect? Let this be your comfort, your compass and your comfort. Let this be like, what would she tell me and what would I want her to evolve to be? Kind of like creating your own little alter ego at some point here, right? So remember to and ask yourself those questions in general. Um, and keep in mind, like, these are the questions you should be asking yourself when you're setting up these goals, these intentions for 2026 is, what does this look like 10 years from now? What would she want me to do now? Right? Both directions. So I think when you create goals coming from a place of intention, that really does make a difference. Okay. So what do we think? That's your recap for your 2026 joy plan. Remember, we're going to recap this real quick. Choose 3 joy goals. 3. Break them into monthly milestones, then break those into weekly steps. Use your daily joy plan template, your days of the weeks. Write yourself a 2036 letter, a love letter. Keep joy at the center of everything. That's key. And remember, you have a roadmap, you have clarity, and you literally have the power to make 2026 your year. Your joy is in your control. Remember that, ladies. You have the power. So let's take one last sip of Java. We've been neglecting our caffeine. And we need it after that little emotional roller coaster. Okay. And let's shift our mindset and be ready to take in our day. Okay. Really just, you spent this time reflecting, move away from it for a minute, separate for a minute, come back to it later and sit and do all the things that I told you to do. Give yourself maybe a night to even sleep on it if you need to. But if you've already got like You're feeling the vibes. You're like, oh yes, I want to write this. I want to write that. Then go do it now. Okay. Do it while all those feel goods and fuzzies are going. Okay. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Java and Joy. I really hope today's conversation poured joy into your day, your week, your month, and your entire next year. If you love this episode, be sure to share it with a friend who also needs to, be reminded that they have the power to make 2026 their year as well. As always, come hang out with me on social media. You can find me everywhere at Beauty by Karla Joy. That is Karla with a K. And if you have any topics that you love for me to do an episode of on Java and Joy, let me know. If you have an amazing story, joy journey that you'd like to share, let me know. You can always email me, beautybykarlajoy@gmail.com, or again, come see me on social media. And of course, if you're ready to really, step into a joy journey and you need a little extra help, a little more accountability, someone just in your corner helping you, keeping you on track, giving you more resources, uh, go check out my coaching packages. Of course, I have free resources there. Make sure you go grab that free downloadable goal tracker. That is, free for anybody who wants that. But everything is at beautybykarlajoy.com/coach. Everything, guides, coaching packages, freebies, everything's there for you. Okay. And if you are watching this on a podcast platform or on YouTube, all the links, all my goodies are always in the show notes. So just go down there and click on those. But that's it. Until next time, your future is in your hands. You have the power. Go create future you. Go create a future you that the 2036 you will be proud of. And most importantly, ladies, go find your joy. I'll see you next time. Bye.